This is a great example of how a sales call can go. The narration part of this video was filmed at the British Library, so it might be a little bit echoey, but the rest of the sound quality should be great. Hope you enjoy. For your online tutoring business, the best way to have a client consultation is either through a Zoom call or a phone call. Hi there. Hello. This is Jessica Pizzol from PEZ Tutoring. Is this Laura Jones? Oh, yeah, hi. I received your email about your daughter who needs some help with her 10th grade geometry class. Yeah, hi. Thanks for calling me back so quickly. Yeah, Andrea has been struggling with her geometry class this year. She says it's so much different than algebra. She made a B in algebra last year, but with geometry, she's made 2 failing test grades. So we're getting worried, and she doesn't always know how to do the homework either. At this point, her father and I can't help her with the homework anymore. It's been a long time since either of us have had that class. I see. Well, first of all, I completely understand what you're going through. Geometry was my toughest math class. I want to make sure I get her name right. Is it Andrea? Not Andrea, but yes. Andrea? That's right. Andrea. That's right. Okay. So, has she spoken to her teacher for any help? She has, but this teacher coaches wrestling this semester, and he isn't able to stay after school for after-school tutoring to help the students. He does offer early morning tutoring twice a week, but her bus doesn't always get her to school early enough for those sessions. Look, I know we're only a few weeks into the class, but I'm afraid if we put it off any longer, she'll be too far behind. Well, I want to tell you, you're doing the right thing right now by seeking help. I remember, actually, myself, I struggled in geometry back in 10th grade, and I'm pretty sure I shed a few tears over a few tests, so I completely understand. Here's where it's important to ask the client a series of questions. Here's a list of the ones that I like to use. A link to this list is posted in the video's description box. You can actually download it. Now, when you're talking with clients, conversation can be like a winding river. Still, it's really good to have this list that you can refer back to, because there's nothing worse than having a conversation and then realizing you forgot to ask some really key questions that you need to know about that potential student. At this point in the conversation, 2 questions have already been answered. Notice how I asked the parent to confirm how to pronounce the student's name. I want to make sure I get her name right. Is it Andrea? Not Andrea, but Andrea. I think it's polite to do this, but it also just shows you that you care enough about that student to actually get their name right even before you've met them. Then, just so you have a clear idea of how your future lessons are going to go, always ask, Mrs. Jones, when it comes to math tutoring, what are the exact results you guys are looking for? Well, I guess we're just hoping that she passes the class. We'd love for her to get a B or even an A, but for the most part, she just needs to understand what's going on in the class. I want her to be able to practice with the tutor and do more than just the homework. I just overall want her to feel more confident so that on test day, she's not freaking out. You may have seen on our website that my husband is our math tutor. And so he says that the best way to improve with math skills is when both the student and the tutor are able to meet 50-50, really 100% and 100%. So I always ask every parent this: do you think Andrea is up for this tutoring? Last week she was frustrated when she found out that her teacher wasn't able to stay after school for tutoring. So I asked her if she would be willing to work with someone outside of the school. She says she is, so I'm gonna take her word for it. That's great, because no matter what, we always work hard and put forth our best effort with our lessons. However, we do stress that with students, they have to do their part too. Yeah. For instance, if a student shows up once or twice a week for their session, but they don't really do any work outside of the session, they're not going to see those results as quickly as they would, if they put in the extra effort. Yep, I get that. Yeah, so I just always ask parents that because, there are some students who just aren't ready for a tutor yet, but I would love to hear what has worked for Andrea in the past as far as study skills or anything relating to math. You said she got a B last year in algebra, right? Well, I would have to ask her, but I know that she does focus when she has a time limit. when last time when I was able to help her with some of her algebra, I would have her do 3 math problems and I would set a timer. And so after she completed the 3 problems, we would go over those. That, I don't know if that's right or not, but that did seem to help her stay on task. That's a great idea. I actually have to write that one down. So now it's time for questions number 6 and 7. So with a math consultation, we can skip number 6 because that doesn't really apply. So I'll move on to number 7. Does Andrea have any particular likes and interests, such as, or any school involvement, like after-school activities, sports? She is a marching band, which is over for now, but she is thinking about trying out for lacrosse. I told her that academics must come before sports. I'm hoping that will motivate her to work harder in this geometry class. Her other classes and grades are fine, but it's the math that's giving her some trouble this year. When we tutor, we found a lot of success with things such as Zoom and Google Drive, Gmail. Is Andrea familiar with any of those? Yes, she did have to create a Gmail account last year, and I believe she does have one for school as well. I know she uses Zoom on those digital learning days, but I don't think they've had one of those in quite a while. Okay, great, because we frequently communicate with students through email, especially if there's homework. Any type of homework or notes that the students receive in class, it's best if we can see those ahead of time so that it can help us better prepare for lessons. One option, for example, is Andrea could take pictures of her homework or of the week's lesson, unit plans, whatever the teacher gives her, and then she can send those ahead of time. In addition, we also use tools such as Delta Math. So after assessing the student, he'll be able to decide what extra work she would need, and thus, as long as the line of communication is established, she'll be able to improve at a faster rate. Now, I think her teacher also posts information online, so how would she give that to your husband? My husband, Mr. Bizold, he might need to ask her to share her screen to show like the teacher's plans or notes whenever possible. Now, he does have his own way of conducting his lessons, but as long as she's comfortable logging into Zoom and she at least knows what content they're covering over class, even if she can't quite work it out yet, he'll be able to plan well for her. Oh yeah, and if she's rusty with using Zoom, that's not a problem. We always spend the first few minutes of our very first session with students creating folders, going over some basics and procedures. Yes, that would be good. Okay, so this parent seems pretty interested in our services, so now it's time to move on to the nitty-gritty. I'm looking at my husband's math availability right now, and it looks like he has an opening on Tuesdays at 5 and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Okay, that could maybe work. Do you guys tutor on weekends by chance? We do not. Now, in a pinch, we might do a makeup session on maybe a Sunday evening, but we do like to keep our weekends free for family time. Yeah, I get you. Well, you know, I see here she is available on Tuesdays. Do you normally recommend 1 tutoring session a week or 2, and how long are they? Our sessions are 1 hour long, so that would be up to you. Of course, more time means faster learning typically, but it depends on the student as well as personal preference. Well, it might depend on price too. Remind me, how much do you charge? Eek, the big question. Don't be scared to tell them your preferred price, and don't undervalue yourself. Since this video will be up for a while, I'm going to just bleep out the current price because it'll probably change, but I want you just to imagine that you're telling this parent your current price. We currently charge an hour. Okay, we have 3 weeks remaining this month, right? So if Andrea started tutoring with my husband once a week, but then he realizes that she may need more time, he'll recognize this and can recommend the extra hour a week. If not, we can keep it to 1 hour a week. How does that sound? Yeah, that sounds fine. Her grade in geometry class right now isn't good, so we may need to do the twice a week. But yeah, let's start with once a week and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so common sense tells us that more payment means more money, and thus any self-respecting business should be pushing for the twice a week tutoring option, right? Not necessarily. Although we want student clients and we really do want them to get the positive results that they're looking for, we haven't actually met this student yet. I'm getting a pretty good impression of the student based off of how the conversation is going with this parent, but the truth will come out when we actually meet and work with the student. As a tutor, don't get greedy or overly eager by pushing the maximum amount of tutoring time. Sometimes a student doesn't need to work with you twice a week. Or sometimes you convince a parent that their student should work with you twice a week, only you find out that the student shows up late, they have no idea what's going on in the class and can't even show you the content that they're working on, and they're demotivated. And you wouldn't want to be stuck with that, would you? But don't worry though, as long as you set up boundaries for yourself and you practice your consultation process, you're going to know what works best for you, your business, your teaching style, and definitely your future students. What is the best email to reach you? lauraparentsample@gmail.com. Yes, LauraParentSample@gmail.com. Thank you. Okay, so it sounds like my husband, Mr. Pizzol, will be working with Andrea on the next 3 Tuesday evenings from 5 to 6 p.m. Now, we'll reevaluate at the end of the month to see if she does need more tutoring time or if she should just stay with the 1 hour. Yes, please let me know. I do anticipate she'll need more, but I don't want to overwhelm her. I mean, if she is still struggling, she'll have to tutor more, no matter what, but... Yes, and I know we want to make sure that we're a good fit for Andrea too. As I said earlier, my husband teaches math for a business, and he actually will be happy to speak with you if you have any specific math questions for him. He's actually just teaching right now, so if you'd like to call him, you certainly can. Right now, I'm emailing you a link to our registration form. This form gathers basic contact information for you and Andrea, and it just allows you to see our 24-hour cancellation policy and our social media clause. It'll also enable you to set up auto pay, which means you won't have to take extra time each month to manually pay an invoice. Okay, so you guys charge monthly, right? Yes, so all payments do come out at the very first of the month, but you will only be charged for the sessions that take place. If Andrea has a dentist appointment or anything else that might interfere with an upcoming session, there will be an opportunity for you to reschedule on our platform, which is called TutorBird. However, we do encourage you guys to limit the amount of reschedules just in order to protect our time, and especially the time of our other students. Oh, she'll be there. She needs to pass this class. Oh, and do you use Facebook? Yeah, I'm on there sometimes. We have a Facebook group for our clients and students, and I frequently post learning tips, or I go live in the group to talk about updates or other tutoring opportunities. The link to join this group will also be in that email. Oh, okay. Okay, so you may have your own way of onboarding tutoring clients, but this method is just the one I've used in the past year. Your methods will evolve with the business, and you will learn small but very important lessons along the way. Comment below to tell me one thing that you have to include during your sales calls. After you fill out the registration form, my husband will be able to send a Zoom link to Andrea. After this month, he'll be in touch with you about whether or not Andrea will benefit from additional tutoring. Thank you. I'm excited now. I tried contacting a tutoring agency last week, but they never called me back. Well, I'm biased, of course, but I feel like you've made the right choice. We're personable, we're great at communication. With that said, if you can think of any more questions later, feel free to call me or to email me. Can you think of any other questions at this moment? I don't think so. Well, so I just look for your email about the registration. Oh, I see it. I see it now in my inbox. All right, I'm gonna fill it out right now. Well, it was so nice to speak with you, Mrs. Jones. You too. Have a great day. You do the same. Bye-bye. So that's it, guys. That's how an ideal sales conversation can go. I invite you to comment below and just name one thing that you learned while watching this sales call skit. Then stay tuned. Soon I'll be posting a video about how to articulate your value, especially when a potential client says that your prices are too expensive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.